Good Friday afternoon and evening, wherever you may be in the world. How is everybody doing today? Victor, how are you doing?
It's Friday. How can you do on Friday?
It's not Monday, so therefore it's Friday.
Exactly.
All right. Hey, by the way, if you don't know who we are, my name's Darren. This over here is Victor, and we are the host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. I was just thinking about this name a few minutes ago. Isn't DevOps a paradox within itself?
Yeah, I still haven't discovered what it is. I mean,
No.
DevOps.
Well, has anyone?
I don't think so. I think that they're lying to you if they say that they did.
And so anyway, back to what I was saying. We co-host a podcast, comes out every Wednesday. And on Fridays, since this whole time of life has been happening, the after time, I guess is what we'll call it, since the before after time, we have been doing this live stream on Fridays. No editing, no nothing. What you see is what you get. So thanks for joining us today. If you're new here today, go ahead and put a comment over in the chat, and we'll say hey to you. By the way,
By the way,
have you listened to this week's episode yet?
No, of what?
Of our
Show.
Yeah, there's nothing but our show, right? Nothing else exists.
No, I haven't.
Come on.
No, I haven't.
No, you haven't. Well, this was the one where we were talking about logging with Loki.
I mean, I haven't listened to it after I recorded it. I listened to it once.
Yeah.
And I'm a very clever guy. I can remember it from one listening.
Yeah, well, I edited it and I don't remember it because it's been a few weeks, but it boils down to, what was your favorite thing about Loki? Really simple. This isn't a trick question.
To me?
Yeah. What was the one line that had you at hello?
Like Prometheus, but for logs.
There you go.
There you go. You see that I pay attention?
You pay attention to yourself?
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm very good at it.
Oh, well. Anyway, if you haven't listened to this episode yet, Logging with Loki, go listen to it. Hopefully you'll get some information out of it. If you're already using Prometheus today and you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I want to do logging? Am I going to go my old way of Splunk, Elasticsearch? If you got nothing right now, at least take a look at Loki. I think it's worth it. I was talking to somebody last night.
Take a look at Loki even if you have something.
Even if you have something.
One.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
I was talking with somebody last night, and their use case probably wouldn't work with Loki because they're not Kubernetes based yet. I was like, but let's keep it in your back pocket for the day when. That will be, because it will only get better from here. Okay, this week there has been lots and lots of news. Now, one of the pieces of information that we got was from one of our community members, Neeraj, and please forgive me if I messed up your name, because I probably did. The CNCF End User Technology Radar. Let me get over here so I can do all the cool stuff here. Oh, wait, we forgot the drink. I've got to write down the drink. Thank you for reminding me. I heard the pop, so I have my lime today. Wait, there we go. Lime. Am I keeping you from a meeting?
No.
Okay.
I'm finished with the meetings for today. There's only work left.
There's only work left. Okay. Anyway, with the CNCF radar, observability popped up. Now, of course, we've had people on from, oh, help me. I just blanked. Who did we have?
CNCF.
No. For observability.
I don't know. Somebody. There was somebody.
Forgive us if you're watching it back. Chen. Chen. It was Chen.
Yes, Chen.
And
oh my.
Come on, who is it? Yotam, Chen. They are Cloudwise. Cloudwise. There we go. Whew. See, I can do it. I just have to forget. Here, let me turn off my notifications because I was just fussing at you for not having your notifications. Anyway, observability. So these here in the bottom are Adopt, Grafana, and Prometheus. Well, duh, right? Datadog. Yeah, why not? Elastic? Fair enough, right? That's what we talked about in this week's episode.
Yeah, but I have a beef with CNCF technology radar, to be honest.
Really? Okay.
It's not really giving you the opinion. It's just, it's a survey that they send, and what are you using? What are you more or less using? What are you not using? Which is not really a valid way
It's biased. It's highly biased.
Exactly, because kind of like, hey, if you put mainframe over there, it's going to be in green as well.
Yeah.
Because many are using it.
Right.
I repeated this many, many times. I really hope that I really expect from people, organizations, whomever, to give me opinion, kind of, yes, this is really, you should adopt this, you should try this, you should assess that.
Yeah.
And this is not it.
Yeah. But at least the themes, this third one, Prometheus and Grafana are frequently used together.
Yeah.
Really? I would have never guessed that. But I think it's still early on. And there was another one that was, if you scroll to the bottom of this page, there's another one that they did a few months ago. So this isn't a monthly thing, and they're targeting different things. So take a look at it. If nothing else, just like the CNCF landscape puzzle that we saw last week, if you've never heard of these things, it's probably not surprising, number one, because there's thousands of them. But number two, if it's showing up at least on here, again, because it is biased, at least you know what you should at least be starting to look at. If it's good for nothing else. If it's not good for anything else, it's at least good for that. It's like if you've never heard of these, everybody else in the industry has. So this is a good place to start. Okay, next item. You sent this one in. Microsoft resurfaces. Whoops.
Yeah. I don't have much to say. Just to me, it was impressive that somebody ran a data center on the bottom of an ocean and now took it out to see whether it works. I'm pleasantly surprised. Impressed. I'm impressed.
If anybody was going to do it, it was either going to be them or Google.
Why not AWS?
AWS could too, I guess. I guess I'm not biased against it. I think all three of them were going to have to.
Yeah. But it's so kind of cool. I can imagine, kind of, because latency regions, that's always the issue. You need more. I can imagine Microsoft just dropping containers, having a boat that goes across the shore of a continent and just drops a container every 10 kilometers or 50 kilometers or something like that. 30 miles for those of you not versed in kilometers.
I can't do the math in my head. No, that's fine.
Divide with 1.6.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, interesting story.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you haven't been around with us on Fridays, once the show's over, all the links will be down below. If you're watching directly on YouTube, it will be down in the description. If you're over on our website, it'll be down in the show notes. Now, next,
to me, what was interesting about this one is that the percentage of issues that they're having is much, much lower when it's at the bottom of the ocean, which is kind of surprising. They were mentioning corrosion and a few other things.
Yeah.
I would not have expected that, right?
Right. But still,
anyway.
Yeah, right here it is. 1/8 the failure rate of a land-based data center. 1/8.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Because nobody can touch it?
Exactly.
Exactly. But then when that 1/8 happens, what do you do?
Well, we've talked about having, high availability and region failover. Basically, these are almost literally pods, right? So how do you move workload from tank to tank?
Shut it down.
Yeah. Anyway. The next big story, I liked how you put it, the end of Intel. NVIDIA buys ARM for $40 billion. Billion.
Yeah. That means that basically the way how I interpret that, combined with what happened before that, with the announcement that Apple is going for ARM. I mean, they're on silicon, and before that, Microsoft releasing that failed experiment, which will not be failed forever, which is Surface something, right?
Yeah.
But everything points to consumer market, computers, laptops, whatever, is going to be based on ARM. I don't see a future of Intel in consumer market. Now, servers, that's a separate discussion and all that. So it's not really dying. And I'm pretty sure that consumer market is smaller part of their pie. But still, if I could rewrite what I wrote in that document before, I would say the end of Intel in the consumer market.
Yeah. Yeah, but the end of Intel sounds cooler. But yeah, no, I think especially if the price points are right, you're not going to beat ARM. I'm sorry. I mean, right now, a part of this production is running on a Raspberry Pi. Right?
I mean, everything points to Intel not being capable to deliver the improvements for quite a few years. Again, in consumer market, right?
Right.
I still hate Intel and Apple together for my previous laptop being able to deliver 1/3 of CPU capacity simply because it starts burning after 2 seconds of using it.
But you recently acquired a new iMac.
Yes.
And do you
That's the last Intel computer I will have.
Probably.
I like it, but this is a bit different, right? Because it has more space for cooling and what's not, so it works like a charm.
Right.
But if you would stuff those same processors in a laptop, as we do,
it would be melting.
And it is melting, kind of. It's embarrassing how actually you're buying laptops. Like if you buy MacBook Pro today, you're actually buying CPU that you cannot use.
Right. I don't know if you can probably hear the background from my microphone. Right now, my laptop is just cranking out because I'm running in Chrome at the moment. But the CPU is just pegged. And I've shut down everything else. So, will I move to Windows? Will I get an iMac? Time will tell.
To move to desktop now. Whether it's going to be Windows or Mac, that's a separate story.
For streaming and video editing, it doesn't really matter. Right? For doing, it does.
It does, because actually there are. If you would use OBS, there are many things in OBS that don't exist in Mac.
Right. Yeah, there are. So from a video streaming perspective, PC, I can get a lot more bang for my buck. I wouldn't have access to Final Cut Pro, but it's trade-offs. So Intel, it's been nice knowing you. Sort of on the other side of things here. Let's get back here. I saw this. This was interesting. I have an acquaintance that works for Dell. And Michael Dell came out this week saying they're going to make all offerings as a service. Very interesting.
I haven't read that one. What does it mean?
Basically, anything. I'll go ahead and say cookies, yes. Basically, they are going to be making everything, all their compute, as a service. So does this mean Dell now remember, Dell owns VMware, right? Is that right? Did I say that wrong?
I don't know. It says VMworld over there.
Well, it says over here, and we are not selling VMware. So,
yeah, I guess it's a typo. Yes, VMware.
But is Dell now going to get into the AWS, GCP, Azure space?
That's what I was thinking right now, because if everything is as a service, then you're entering into a market where you're an underdog now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that can play out. On the other hand, it's the only game you can play, right? How long can we milk on-prem?
Right. So I guess we'll see, because the Dell Technologies World is October 21st to 22nd. And then VMworld is actually, what's that, 2 weeks from now? It is 2 weeks from now. So I guess we'll see.
Dell is yeah, I mean, Dell is kind of a mystery to me because what they've been acquiring lately, last
Yeah.
couple of years, and what they're working is amazing. It's absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. I still don't understand what's the business behind it. I mean, I'm sure that there is some.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, like one of the
I
ones
see.
going back to the video conversation we were just having, they bought Alienware a couple of years ago, right? And Alien is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, could I build one? Sure. Why would I build one if I can buy an Alien? It just, I wouldn't. Alien is phenomenal. I'm sorry I stepped on top of you.
Yeah.
But it seemed,
We'll see.
yeah, we'll see. All right. Now, the other big news from companies this week, both JFrog and Snowflake went public. Snowflake, no, thank you. I don't want to summarize anything. Snowflake shares more than double, and it's the biggest software IPO ever. Just to read the headline, thank you, CNN. But they priced Tuesday night at 120, above their expected range, up to 245, peaked at 3, and it pulled back, and they still doubled their money on the start of the day. I have a friend that works for Snowflake. By the way, for this item and the other item we're talking about, I have no holdings, no anything else. So I got nothing, and I got no skin in the game on this one. But why did Snowflake do so well? One person's name, Warren Buffett.
But you know what is embarrassing?
You've never heard of them?
Yes. I mean, JFrog, of course, I know who is JFrog. I mean, I think that they're doing great. I'm not surprised by JFrog going public and doing it very well. Snowflake.
Yep.
If there wasn't this news, I mean, which I heard kind of a couple of days ago,
yeah, you would never.
I would still be oblivious about the existence of something that is so valuable.
Yeah, and JFrog, again, their numbers weren't as exciting as Snowflake. But for somebody that we're both in the same space with JFrog, sort of, at least closer than Snowflake, this is good news for our space in general. So JFrog, 2 thumbs up. Have a taco on us.
No, you have money now. Send us tacos.
Send us tacos. And you don't have to get good tacos. Taco Bell is fine. Just tacos will be fine. But anyway, congratulations to Snowflake and to JFrog. It's a good thing.
It is.
Now, interestingly enough, some of the tooling that and projects that I saw this week. Dive. The heck is Dive? Oh, wait, I had one more. I forgot to put the thing in. Oh, I went too far here. I saw this one late last night. Portworx is being purchased by Pure. Were you even aware of this?
Another one I haven't heard. I mean, Portworx, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Pure storage, not until today.
Yep. So Pure is, according to the press release, an IT pioneer that delivers storage as a service in a multi-cloud world. It almost sounds like a marketing person wrote that. Is it possible?
Who else would be writing PRs?
You may be surprised. But anyway, I have run into, in the day job, I have run into a couple of clients that were using Portworx, and they were beside themselves happy with the storage of how Portworx worked. I have never heard anything bad about Portworx.
Portworx is indeed awesome.
So congratulations also to Portworx. Not a Snowflake or JFrog level probably, but it's probably really good for them. Let's just put it that way.
But you know, that's one of those topics that I mean, how long until cloud providers get their
act together?
Act together on that aspect.
Yes.
Kind of how long until we don't have to deal with DBSs of the world?
Yeah, to where we don't have to where there is now a native storage solution that you're not having to cobble together, whether you're just using the drives, if you're using whatever shared storage that's available, a real live. Is it Ceph? Is it fill in the blank? I don't know.
I think that that's the thing. At least if you're talking about use cases in cloud, right?
Yeah.
If you focus on that, I don't want to know. I don't want to know whether it's Ceph. I just want that my provider gives me bloody storage that works.
Yeah. I don't have to think.
Exactly, to think about, hey, you can have it not fault tolerant but fast, or you can have it fault tolerant but slow. I know that there are always trade-offs, but that's too much of a trade-off for me. It's just too much.
It's like, do I want fault tolerance? Yes or no? If I want fault tolerance within an AZ, I pay. That's just sort of normal, right? I don't have to pay anything extra for that. That should just work. But if I'm wanting fault tolerance, transparent fault tolerance across AZs, then I should have to pay more money for that. And that would be completely okay.
That's perfectly okay. But there is no fault tolerant, not too slow solution.
Today.
I mean, given out of the box by providers. That's important.
Hey, Dave. Dave, are you listening? Dave. Remember Dave? Dave, if you're listening, go knock on the door of somebody down the hall from you and tell them what we're saying. In case you don't know who Dave is one of the developers for Copilot, which I don't have any news about them this week. They've been a little slow recently. They haven't had a release in a little over a month. But anyway.
Wait for reInvent. There will be a
I
big
think
release.
Everything, yeah. I haven't even looked at the dates for reInvent yet, but that'll be good. So anyway, Portworx, again, thumbs up. Good week. All right, now let's get into Dive. Okay, Dive. What is Dive? It's a tool that exists in many different ways, but at least it's a CLI to where I can browse my image. Not a bad thing, right? Browse the layers. You're muted.
Yeah, I mean,
there's other ways to do this, right?
It's more like kind of that. I think it's very useful tool. I think it's great, but again, it's one of those things I don't want to deal with. We are not. I just want to build an image that is built in a way that it is small, efficient, blah blah blah, all that stuff, right?
Yep.
So while I welcome those tools, to me they're more than being useful. They uncover the deficiency that needs to be solved somewhere else.
Right.
The same thing like storage, right? Kind of, yes, it's great, Ceph and all that, but the real thing that I need is AWS, Azure, and Google to give me that stuff out of the box.
Yep. Okay. So if you don't have a way to browse your images today, this might give you a way to do it. Just something different to try. This was the bigger thing that I saw. Not so much a project, but it was a Medium post. Instead of writing Go, use Bash. And this guy's introducing a shell operator. Now, this was introduced at KubeCon EU. But I feel wonderful and sad all at the same time. Because, dang, I don't want to write more Bash. But we know from our friend Carlos that if it wasn't for Bash, he would not be writing code.
I mean, I write Bash all the time. It's just that the moment I reach, I'm going to give you arbitrary number, 100 lines, then I need to start going
something
back
different
to scratch and rewriting it in something else. It doesn't have to be Go. Python is okay, right? Or many other things. But I'm yet to find a person who wrote more than 100 lines of shell that I had to work with that I didn't hate for that.
Well, and that's sort of where where this goes is right here, right? There's a hook subdirectory where you can just put things. Take your pick.
Yeah. But how vital, I mean, are we maybe exaggerating then with operators? If for a moment, just for a brief moment, we accept that shell is not supposed to be a huge thing, right? We are talking about relatively small things that are helping us to do something, right? So if I start putting those as operators, I think that that's bordering insanity. I think that the world is going crazy with operators, and we're going to have a hangover party very, very soon.
It's because they're the new bright, shiny object, sort of.
Yeah, and I see the value in operators. Operators are supposed to sit in a cluster and do part of the work that human operators are doing, managing our stuff. I think it's great. I think it's amazing. But it's not about, hey, look at those 10 lines of code. I'm going to make a Kubernetes operator out of that. That's not the point. Because if it's that simple, you don't need an operator, right? Hey, what can I do in the shell script? I can write something that will kill my container so that Kubernetes restarts it because there is something wrong and I was too lazy. I was not too lazy to write that operator, but I was too lazy to create a decent health check, right? Silly. So yes, operator is great, but not for trivial stuff.
Well, and that's what I'm thinking with this one. Even if it's just, I pop the shell operator in there just to give myself, okay, how do I really want to do this? Without having to write a full operator, at least this gives me at least enough of a starting point, right? I'm okay with that. It's like, maybe this is a great test way of just determining, okay, which way do I want to go? I'm gonna live on that hill for right now. I may die on that hill, but I'm okay with that.
Call me traditional, kind of like, I like to keep my scripts in shell, then I like to keep my not scripts not in shell.
Yeah. Okay. One more thing here real quick. Actually, two more things. This was something, HyScale. Have you heard of HyScale before?
HyScale? No.
Okay.
Another one.
Oh, yet another one. Yes, of course.
Okay, so
okay, wait. Let me before you start going. This is a day that ends in DAY. So yes, there is another one.
Okay.
This is like, it feels like CNCF is like the early days of JavaScript frameworks. Is today a day that ends in Y? Then there's a new framework, at least one. I went through this a little bit. It's what I want our lives to be. This ain't how I want my life to really live.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's blah, 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 blah. It's doing a mashup of some declarative way to define what you want your app to look like when it's deployed. And then it manages all the stuff. It feels like we're recreating the wheel again.
I mean, if you go back to the first one.
This one?
Right, and I'm reading...
Let me bump it up a little bit.
And it scale all, yeah, it auto-generates a scale all the necessary Kubernetes manifests. And I think that that's, on a surface, a good idea, right? Because it's madness, what people need to write today.
Yeah.
But the right direction, I think, is more like what Knative and Flagger are doing, right? To me, that, because if you focus only on this problem, both this and Knative Flagger are doing actually the same thing. They're simplifying how you define stuff, and then they create objects or definitions or whatever, right?
Right.
It's just that the way how doing it inside of Kubernetes cluster so that your definition continues being your definition makes a lot more sense. If I'm going to use a script to create the madness, I'm not really avoiding madness, right? I'm still going to have all that useless stuff.
You're generating madness. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a quick start, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, helpful. It saves me from copying and pasting the previous project. Yeah.
It may be okay. It may not be okay. I'm not pushing it one way or the other. But I don't know. maybe there's an open source side and there's of course a paid side to it. The paid side to it, there is one bullet down here that caught my eye. Was multi-cloud single pane.
Perfect. Those are the types of things that should not be open source.
Right.
Because kind of if I would need to describe the difference between what should be open source and what should be not enterprise, pay me money, is when you run at scale, you give me money. When you don't, you use open source.
Yeah.
Now you can swing that sentence in many different directions, but this goes in that direction, right? Multi-cloud, yeah. You have many clouds, you can give us a few dollars. That's okay.
Yeah, you're spending that much on. Yeah, never mind. It may be more than a few dollars, but yeah. But their basic here from the community side is still good. Create the Docker files, creates the Docker image. This is sort of this feels like what what Copilot is doing, where give me a Docker file, I'll take care of everything else for you. Right? This is part of that.
Except that, and this is now going to go against the popular vision or whatever. I think that multi-cloud today is a myth. I don't think that it exists beyond 0.5% of the industry, right? There are plans, people are planning, companies we're going to be in Azure and AWS and Google, but I'm yet to see companies who really do that, because after years of planning, they realize how complicated and costly that is. And then they stick with one provider. That's the reality of that.
Right.
We might get there one day. I don't know. Hopefully we will, right? But we are not sufficiently agnostic to make multi-cloud a reality for people who don't have millions to throw at the problem.
Right. But if you're doing multi-cloud and you're having pains, I'm not saying this will solve any problems because I have not played with it, but at least it's something to evaluate. If you're not spending a good percentage of your time, if you're in charge especially of an architecture team, and you're not evaluating what's changing on a near monthly basis, it's changing a lot faster than that, by the way, you're not doing your job. So
I keep getting to the same thing. We're coming with those news, mostly you. Thank you.
Yeah.
How do people follow this? I really don't understand.
Do you want to know how they follow? They watch us.
They don't.
No, they watch us. They watch us. We tell them.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. Oh, that's
yeah.
I nominate you as our chief marketing officer.
Great. Okay. Yeah, watch us. I mean, we'll tell you if we know anything enough about it. We'll tell you good or bad. Speaking of good or bad, or maybe no. What's the word I'm looking for? No real one way or the other. I guess that's what I'm looking for. Here's good. Are you ready for this one?
Good. We have good. Okay.
We have good. Have you seen this?
I'm already using it.
Of course you
are. Yes.
So, and of course it's been beta for a very long time, right? Like very, very long time. But now that it's GA, I was going through and just looking at some of this stuff going, oh, this is so nice. And I just think about all the different things that this opens up.
I was actually doing most of those things, if not all, before.
Yeah.
To me, the main benefit is that I now don't need Hub CLI for some operations, right, and then Gist CLI for other operations and whichever else I was using. So kind of consolidating it in one CLI is thumbs up. Great.
GitHub.
And it works really, really well.
Good job. So if you're using GitHub, or like you just said, if you're using Gists just for normal stuff, and you're wishing you weren't having to go to the UI as much, it's like, man, I wish I could just do this. Now you can in one tool.
I mean, so. Gists are the most, one of the top 5 things everybody needs. I cannot imagine anymore living without gist, because whenever somebody asks me something, hey, here's a gist, here's a gist, here's a gist. Gists are everything today, right?
I do not use them as much as I should. I think that's going to be changing pretty soon. A little bit of foreshadowing. Not that I'm that dramatic, because I'm not. So what are we teaching about today? Well, we're not really ever teaching, are we?
Are we ever? No. No, we're teaching in the podcast. Yes, in a podcast, yes. Kind of in the podcast, we are exploring a subject. Most of the time, we actually forget what the subject is 5 minutes afterwards. But hey, there is a theme.
Yes, there is a theme.
This is a random.
This is the theme for Fridays, right here.
Okay, here's actually the answer to Watzel.
Okay.
Tell me what you want us to teach right now. Here.
Yep, we'll do it live.
Live, yes.
We may not be able to demo, but we can teach it live. So tell us. Okay, so while we're waiting for him to respond, because delay, I'm going to bring it up real quick. Well, actually, I'll wait on it. I'll wait till the end. No, I'll talk about it now. Where are you going to be next week? I asked you to tell me where you're going next week. You didn't put it in the sheet.
I'm not going anywhere. I did put it in the sheet to begin with.
Oh, did you?
I did. Sometimes, occasionally, every once in a while, I do listen to you. It doesn't happen often.
But you must have put it in, because I didn't check it right before we went on. So.
That's the element of surprise. I'm making you think that I don't do stuff that you ask me to, which I don't. But then occasionally I do and get you by surprise.
And you get me by surprise. So anyway, Victor, next week, is next week the 24th? Yep, next week's the 24th. He is going to be at Eurodoc. And there will be a link down in the show notes. That's on September 24th. And then in October, on October 27th, October 7th, I'm trying to read. October 7th, he's at CDCon. That one is not free. So Eurodog, I'm assuming, is free based on you not putting anything in there. Okay.
But CDCon, it's $25. It's not earth-shattering. It's not gonna break your bank account. Yeah. And everything goes to charitable causes of one sort or another. So it's kind of, organizers are not earning that money. You just think of that as giving it to people who need it. Yep. It's a good thing.
Yep. So again, the link for CDCon will also be down in the notes. Now there's two. In theory, which I have a meeting about this afternoon, I'm supposed to be doing some sort of 10 or 15 minute talk on Wednesday about something in a booth somewhere at DevOps World.
Are you becoming like me?
Yeah, I think I am.
That's the type of answer people expect from me, not from you.
I know. I'm learning. So it'll be something, and now DevOps World is free. It's put on by CloudBees, my current employer, and if it does happen, I will tweet out from both. I'll tweet out from at least my handle on Twitter. I might put it on DevOps Paradox. I might not. I don't want to completely waste it. But then we had a guest this week. I'm going to go ahead and share it. We talked to Joe, who's the CEO of Pulumi. I was fanboying pretty hard because a year ago I thought Pulumi was great. I still think it's great, even though I haven't used it much in a year. Victor has different thoughts, but that's okay. We can disagree on things. But Pulumi is putting on, and in fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull up. They are putting on the Cloud Engineering Summit. Let me go and pull it up here. Thank you. The link for it is right here. So it is, I lost it. There it is. cloudengineeringsummit.com. It'll get redirected to here. Pulumi's putting it on completely free October 7th and 8th. Now, what you can do is you can double up. You can go watch Victor at CDCon on one screen and then come over and watch Cloud Engineering Summit on the other screen. Cloud Engineering Summit is free. This is the guy that we talked to. This is Joe. But then there's quite a lineup of people here. got people from Puppet, from JFrog. I'm surprised he's not going to be on the beach. See, people from JFrog. Now, do you know somebody from JFrog?
Not
currently,
as a friend.
Right? Yeah. Now we know people at Puppet, and we know people at some other companies as well. But so I'm going to make a joke. So if you're listening, please don't get angry. I'm going to attempt a joke. So JFrog made the I can go to the beach money. Snowflake made the I bought the beach money. That was okay, not a joke. Never mind. Anyway, this is where we're going to be over the next couple of weeks, and we'll see how it all works out. But this sounds like a pretty good thing. They've got lots of people from lots of different places. It is not a, what was the word I'm looking for? So Pulumi, JFrog, GitLab, Chef, just lots of people. So if you're interested in cloud engineering, it's supposed to be fairly agnostic. So, and I have no reason to not believe what Joe said. So Joe's super nice guy.
Oh yeah.
And Pulumi.
What's the question?
What was the question? Oh yeah, we still haven't gotten the question back yet. He may have like left us, and that's fine. Okay. So we're going to teach something now for 5 minutes. What is it we're going to teach on? Come on.
I don't know. Waiting for Watzel to ask.
Well, okay. Well, I'll keep watching for him to drop something in. But what can we teach on? Quick. What can we do for 5 minutes? We'll put us both on the fire here.
Okay, you answer it.
I don't know.
Because if I answer, every month my head is in a different place. Right now, every answer I give, unless I'm asked specifically, will be GitOps. GitOps.
Everything is GitOps. So
everything is this month. Maybe the next one as well. After that, we'll see. It's going to be something else.
So if it's, how about SVN ops? No. It worked the same way, right? Just a lot more disk space.
No pull requests.
No pull request. How would you, all right, there. Let's stay there for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do GitOps without using pull request? Or if you're on GitLab, merge requests? Is it possible?
Of course it is. I mean...
but should you do it?
I don't think that... Exactly. So there is nothing that says... I cannot imagine a principle of GitOps that says, hey, you need to do pull requests. GitOps is about, hey, Git contains the desired state. Machines converge the actual state into the desired state, right? It's a separation between humans and machines. And that wall is Git, right? We are on the left side of Git and machines are on the right side of Git. Now, it can be done perfectly well without pull requests. Now, since we have pull requests, I cannot imagine why somebody wouldn't use them unless it's a very small team, because we do want to share the knowledge, so people should review things. We want to discuss things. We want to, run tests. How do you run? I mean, of course, you can run tests by having stuff in a separate branch and then executing something, but pull request today. So the way how I see is that pull request is a statement of intention, right? I do my work, and it's nobody's business but my business. When I create a pull request, I made a statement, and that statement is, I believe that this is okay to deploy to production. I believe, I don't know. And then the process starts.
So the PR makes it gives us some breathing room before it gets applied. Whereas just doing a merge from a branch doesn't.
No, so merge for a branch would be equivalent to merge of a PR
right
to the master, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just that without pull requests, it's very difficult to get that statement, hey, this is ready, right? And also, the problem with previous systems, first that you don't have pull requests, but also that you don't have a mechanism that forces you to always update your work with the master before actually saying that this is ready, right? You cannot make a pull, at least in GitHub, you cannot make a pull request if there is a drift between your work and master.
Right.
Now, of course, it's a lot of nice to have things than requirements, right? Of course, nothing prevents you from in SVN to merge from mainline branch to your branch, in the opposite direction, and always have up to date. But it's not enforced. It's not so easy.
Right. Okay, so that was 3 minutes.
3?
That was 3 minutes.
2 more minutes.
Paper. What about paper?
Okay, since I am kind of focused on GitOps, and I'm focused on 2 tools within GitOps, within deployment side of GitOps.
Okay.
To be more precise, right? Because GitOps can be many different things.
Okay.
If anybody kind of has experience and can tell me why Flux is better than Argo or the other way around, that would be very helpful. I'm spending time with both, getting very opinionated, and if you have a different opinion, that would be helpful.
Yeah. So if you look right down below there, if you have an opinion, go join up the Slack channel.
Like Victor's opinion, that's true. I have no idea what is true.
Right. Truth is true.
Yeah.
But that's about it. So if you haven't joined up the Slack channel or Slack Workspace, I always say Slack channel, but Slack Workspace, crawling down below is the handle to go sign up.
Oh, you mastered a new technique.
Well, I couldn't think of a good reason to ever use it. I figured, okay, get to the end of the show and I always forget to put this up. So at least now it's just sitting there scrolling, really annoying people as they're listening to us talk, and they just see this thing going across the bottom of, like right down here.
That's the reason why everybody should come to Eurodog, because I discovered how to do those things when doing live, and it's going to be horrible. It's going to be popping things all over the place. It's going to be a live session equivalent of when people discovered animated GIFs, and then everything became.
You're doing Eurodog live? You didn't tell me that.
Yes, it's live. It's live, but with OBS, and then things will pop up. Equivalent of animated GIFs. It's gonna be horrible. I'm telling you that. But I need to go through that phase to learn how not to do it.
How not to do it.
Exactly.
Well, okay, so there's our final 2 minutes of teaching. Don't be afraid to fail. You have to You have to experiment. You have to figure out what isn't going to work. If you sit around and just think theory all day, you're not making any progress. I'm sorry. You're burning brain cells, but you're not making progress.
But real failure is not when you fail in a basement in your room on doing something, kind of when you fail publicly, kind of in front of people, whatever that is. That's a real failure, kind of like.
Yeah.
That's what we should be striving for.
Sort of like this live stream. It's a never-ending failure.
I still don't know what
that we do week in, week over. Well, we're sort of like Seinfeld. It's a show about nothing.
I'm in the same group now with Voxer. I don't know what we're teaching about.
It's because we never. No. Speaking of legit teaching, where are we at on catalog?
Catalog is getting Argo CD next. So sorry, it's getting the section about deployments using GitOps principles, and Argo CD is the first one in. I would like to say publicly that Flux is next, because those are the 2 major ones. But I already learned my lesson that never to say in advance what I'm going to do next, because I changed the plan from one day to another.
Yeah, because security still hasn't launched yet. And we even said in the podcast that it's...
I was yelling, security. Yeah. Didn't happen. So no promises anymore. Argo is next, and deployments using GitOps is umbrella. And what comes after that?
We don't know yet.
It's anybody's guess.
Yeah. that's the thing is if you want to understand what's happening sort of near real time, you have to watch this live stream. Because the podcast, we do a couple weeks in advance, typically, so I can edit it and get it ready to go. So things we say on the podcast may not actually happen in the time that we said that we're supposed to happen because life happens. Or in our case for Loki, Vadam happened. Right?
Exactly. We need more people like Vadim.
Vadam's probably not on today. He's probably asleep right now. Well, no, he's not. Probably not. But it's probably already cold where he is.
Oh, yeah.
So what's your plan for the weekend? We'll go ahead and start talking about wrapping up here.
My plans are always the same. It's going to be split time between family and working.
Yep.
Because weekends is when catalog is being done.
Yeah.
And nights.
It's what it is. And I'm still writing reports. So. Got to write reports. Got to make the donuts. So anyway, in case, like I said, if you've never seen us before and you made it this far, or you're just scrubbing through the video, go listen to our podcast, DevOpsParadox.com. Of course, scrolling down below that is the link off to the Slack workspace. And if you want to just talk with us, our Twitter handles are down below, but then you can also go to DevOpsParadox.com/contact, and all of our contact information is there. By the way, was it this week? It was this week. The podcast is now available. Now, you said you saw it in Spain on Amazon Music, right?
No. I saw that Amazon Music is available in Spain. Whether I saw our podcast in Spain.
Okay. So if you have, so based on what I read, and I still haven't validated this anywhere else yet, but if you have Amazon Music in some way, shape, or form, they now launched podcasts this week. I believe it was on Wednesday, which worked out really well for us since we release on Wednesday mornings at 6 a.m. Eastern. If you're in the US and UK, I've validated those two are true. You can listen to DevOps Paradox there. Of course, we're everywhere else too. Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, you name it, we're there.
Really like a disease.
We're even in India on Ghana. If you haven't gone to check that out. If you're in India and you're a Ghana listener, go look for DevOps Paradox. We're actually listed twice there, which I don't really understand, but it's okay because all of our stuff is there too. Anything else? Again, congratulations to Snowflake, JFrog, and Portworx. Good news for all three companies. As the tide is rising, everybody else is rising along with it. I just wish I could go out and eat.
And a minute of silence for all those hundreds of others who failed. You know, for every successful startup, there are at least 10 startups that fail.
Probably a lot more than 10.
Yeah, I'm being generous right now.
You are being very generous right now. Okay. Hey, wait. We got a comment back here. Let's see. Oh, Vidor was talking about CI/CD on Kate's. Yeah. That's when we were talking about GitOps and pull requests and all the other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Or unless he got really lagged and was asking what he wanted us to teach on. That would have been like 20 minutes ago. Boy, I know we have a little bit of a delay, but I don't think it's that bad. Okay. Is that it? You're almost to the bottom of the bottle. So that's
the second bottle, yes.
Bottom of the second bottle. I'm halfway through my first can. And I'm saying a lot because I'm catching myself today.
You don't have enough practice.
Haven't had enough protein, and I haven't had enough practice. Both of which are true right now. Okay, I need to go back and finish writing a report. That's how my Friday's going to end up today, I believe. And then I watch a webinar tonight. With my wife. It'll be fun. All about publishing. Something a little different. Just the way it's going to ride today. All right. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. We will be back next Friday at some point in time. Follow us on the socials, and you will find out when it happens, because at this point, we have no idea when it will happen. But it will happen. And if it doesn't, it won't. Have a great weekend, everybody.